Hi, this is Ann Hill from Dream Talk Radio. Welcome to my series, my video series on essential guides to dreams. And I'm putting this series together because I think there are a few just real basic ideas and perspectives on dreams that can help a lot of people, but you may not be aware of. And so what I'm going to try and do is just do short videos of things that I think are really important for people to understand about dreams. So I hope you like the series. This first one is on things to do with your children's dreams. So it's the morning time and your child wakes up and it says, "Mommy, Mommy, I just dreamt that a purple monster came on an airplane and then he gave me a sandwich," and then on and on and on. And you think, this is far too early for this child to be telling me about purple monsters in their dreams. But okay, we'll roll with it. So what do? The first thing, the most important thing you can do with a child's dreams is to listen to them, and just listen unequivocally. You may be getting breakfast, you may be putting their socks on, whatever, but just listen and try not to listen with judgment. Just try and be really open-minded about it. Listen to it as though you were listening to them tell you a story that they were making up. And so ask, well, wait a second, what happened? Really? They climbed up the apple tree and then the car came along and they jumped down into it? You know, whatever that is, just to get more details about the story and to show them that you're engaged with what they're presenting to you. So the whole idea is to normalize dreams, to give children the message that dreams are normal. Everybody dreams. Not everybody remembers their dreams all the time, and some people remember them a lot more than others, particularly children. But everybody dreams, and it's pretty normal, even if you don't understand what they mean. So number one is to listen. Number two, write them down. I always had a dream journal for myself, and then when my children were young and they would come in and tell me their dreams, I would write them down. I started a little journal for each of my kids, and so, you know, every so often, there would probably be a period of time where they'd have a lot of dreams to tell me, and so I'd write them all down. And when they became old enough, I'd say, here's all your dreams, here's your dream journal, do with it what you will. And they, for the most part, continued on. But even if they didn't, they just still really liked that. Oh, right, she was paying attention back in the day, and when I was 13 and had this crazy dream. I don't remember it now, but now I can because it's written down. The other thing you can do is just ask about dreams over breakfast. It's a typical point where there's a lot of logistics. People are getting out the door, going this way, going that way, got to get things ready. But it's nice to have a little moment in the morning when dreams are still fresh in your mind and your children's mind to just say, hey, did anybody have any interesting dreams? And just leave it like that. It doesn't have to be any analysis. It doesn't have to be, are you sure you're feeling okay? It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be, that doesn't make any sense, that's a stupid dream. It's just, tell me your dream. What were you dreaming? So, you can also give them a digital tape recorder. And when my kids were little, I had little tape decks. That if, for instance, one of my daughters had a lot of dreams and she was very interested in recording them, but she didn't want to write the whole thing. She was probably about 10 or 11. And so I just got a little mini tape recorder, and so she would just speak her dream. She'd grab it off of her shelf and talk her dream into it, and so she'd have a record of it, which was really helpful for her, and that would help her remember it so that later in the day she would be able to think about the whole dream. Let's see, you can also encourage them to do artwork from their dreams. Kids love art, and sometimes the images from dreams are so bizarre and so fun that it's great to sort of just hand them a piece of paper and a pen, especially at those times when they're telling you a dream and you have absolutely no idea what to say about it, what to do about it. Maybe it's just kind of ridiculous, maybe it's a little worrisome. Just hand them a piece of paper and say, why don't you draw that? So the important thing here is that you don't have to be an expert on dreams. There's a lot of things that kids expect us to be expert on, but it's actually a good message to send them, that to say, dreams are mysterious. They are ultimately mysterious. We know that they have a lot of important functions, but I'm not the expert on your dreams. I'm not the expert. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to draw this dream. You can draw it. So that's another example of giving them the power to define and to express their own dreams. Very important for their future creativity. You can also make a dream map, particularly if you have older kids and they're dreaming, oh, I was in Brazil last night and my God, we were going on down the Amazon in a boat, and there was maybe one of your kids, I dreamt I flew to Paris. Whatever it is, get a world map, put it on the wall in some corner of the house, and whenever somebody dreams about a different place, put a little pin in it or a little mark on it. And just as an interesting way, there's no big goal here other than to realize that we can go anywhere in our dreams. We can do anything because it's a dream, right? It's a dream. I can fly to Paris tomorrow. I can fly to Paris last night. Anyway, so dream map, really a fun way to just have dreams as part of the family conversation. Making up stories from dreams. When my kids were little, we'd be in the car and invariably one of them would say, tell a story, and it would always have to be a new story. So I'm driving, trying to keep my eyes on the road, I'm trying to take care of 3 kids, and I would just start spinning off a story out of the first image that came to my mind, and often that was an image from my own dream. And so I would just sort of take it and run with it and make it into a kid's story, but it had some dream elements. So that's another thing that you can encourage with your kids is, okay, why don't you just tell a story out of that dream? If you had to, in fact, a great thing to do is if you had to replay that dream, if you went into that dream again, what would you make the story be? And so you can have them actually rewrite the whole dream as a story. So the interplay between story and dream is so rich and so useful and important. So really good to just make up stories out of dreams. Let's see. If you dream about a certain place nearby, it's a kind of a nice idea to go there. You don't have to actually do anything, but say my son dreamt about this particular tree and there was a squirrel in the tree. Let's just go over to the tree and maybe lay out a couple nuts under the tree for the dream squirrel. That's it. Just go there. Because what happens when we live in a particular place over a long period of time is those places end up as part of our dream geography. We end up dreaming about them, and they have a special significance, particularly if they're places that we dream about a lot. So just go there in waking life and lay a couple acorns on the ground for the dream squirrel, or whatever seems appropriate. But it's just a nice way, again, of bringing our nighttime brain activity into our waking day. And that is really the basic idea behind working with dreams at all, is to acknowledge that there's a lot of things going on in our minds and our psyches, especially when we're growing up. And bringing that into our awareness as much as possible is healthy, and it's good, and it makes us more creative, more interesting people. So thanks. This is my first one of the essential guides to dreams.